Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guest is top real estate agent Kristi Andrew of the Andrew Group at Coldwell Banker based out of Abilene, Texas. After vowing to never pay another person's mortgage and purchasing her first home at age 19, the spark for real estate ignited for Kristi. She is a top producing real estate advisor in her market, was named Listing Agent of the Year, Sales Agent of the Year, and Realtor of the Year for 2015, and has achieved the ranks of the top 2% of agents within her franchise globally. She has met the requirements of becoming a luxury previews realtor in the market with few luxury homes and a low average sales price. All this while self-proclaiming she's as horrible a salesperson as they come, meaning that her gifting and success come from a gazillion different avenues, none being a gifting of sales or selling a home. All right, with all that said, Kristi, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
And Kristi, if we could start for our listeners, what led you into real estate? Was it something that you always knew you wanted to do, or did you maybe stumble into it?
You know, I actually didn't really have a choice. It's something that I've always really done. One of my first office jobs was when I was in high school at the age of 16. I worked at a property management office, and through that I saw firsthand the potential profit that real estate was making for all of our clients. So that led to my next job that I kept over the course of college and marriage and baby raising. I worked at an exclusive real estate office in my area, and I was surrounded by innovative business people that led me to purchase my first home when I was only 19. So after that, I was just hooked on real estate.
And do you think you could talk about what personal attributes, traits, or qualities have most contributed to the success that you've had in real estate?
You bet. We joke that we came out of my mama's womb with fire in my belly and a drive to succeed, so it's kind of just a natural trait that I've had from early on. I'm pretty sure I was walking and on my own and chewing meat by 2 weeks old, but I have a very strong natural focus, and I feel like there's no challenge that's set before me that's too big to succeed at. So I'm extremely persistent in achieving goals. Even at a young age, my mom had to take me down to a store, the local store called Sprouts Ritz. She said for about 6 months I was determined and hell-bent at 5 years old to get a job at the store that I had loved so much. And she kept telling me, Kristi, you can't get a job. You're too young to work. And so finally I drove her nuts to the point of she drove me down to the store and had me talk to a manager. And I tried to apply for a job, and of course they told me no. But, you know, even at 5, I just wanted to hit it hard. So I don't take no well for an answer. And so when people do tell me no, it fuels me even more. So another thing that's really works well in my real estate career is I'm not afraid to fail. Like I said earlier, no task too big.
Excellent. And do you think, give our listeners another example of when these traits have played a role in your path towards success?
Well, I'm a big dreamer with little fear of failing, so it puts me in a position to strive for big things. Every time I utter the phrase to my husband, I've been thinking, or I have an idea, he goes into, oh gosh, here she goes mode. So every year I set goals in the fall for the following year, and I put my big ones on a vision board, and the smaller ones are held accountable by a business coach that I work with. But I daily make sure that I'm on track to meet my goals, and it helps me do big things in a relatively small market. But I was once told by my office manager here, we were setting yearly goals together, she told me that my goal for that year was a little bit too ambitious, and her words slipped out of her mouth, and from that point on, it was challenge on. So it drove me to not only achieve that goal that I had set, but I'd beat it by more than double that year. So when I'm told no, it just fuels me. I'm a dreamer, and so watch out.
Excellent. And Kristi, I think whenever somebody builds a successful business or has a successful career, sometimes getting there isn't always easy. There could be bumps in the road. Can you talk a little bit about some of the adversities and trials that you've had to overcome in order to achieve your goals?
Yeah, definitely. Well, one of my hardest ones, and this is real estate and personal, but we lived through the market crash or the market hump in the 2007, 2008 era, and at the time, my husband and I had personally had quite a few homes that we had constructed to sell, so that was very much a nail-biter, and I would say for over a year, we were on our knees. We were wearing out our knees in prayer that the Lord would take care of us and help us through that situation. So that was the first time that I realized that real estate can be an investment, but it can also be a big risk. So thank goodness it came out on the other side of it and learned a lot of lessons from it. But today's adversity to me in my market is trying to make a living in a market that has very affordable housing. So for me, a smaller price tag on a home means a smaller paycheck. So I have to find a way to leverage my time so I can sell a larger volume of homes to make up for that. And another thing is I'm a wife and mama, and keeping my time balanced is the trickiest part of my career. I have a phenomenal assistant, Stacy, who backs me up and frees my time. But, just trying to find time so I can be a wife and mom is a challenge that I face every single day. And you just have to align yourself with the right people to leverage your time so you can keep up with the things that are important as well.
And Christy, what kept you going despite these obstacles? Why didn't you give up? What was your driving force?
Any obstacle, whether it be, like I said, career or personal, I have a you can't keep me down mentality. And so some of the biggest lessons I've learned in my career were through seasons of experiencing trials and even sometimes pure failure. Nobody likes adversity, but I will tell you the other side of the refiner's fire is where precious stones are worth the most. So I just don't ever fear trials or failure.
And I guess kind of looking forward, what's your vision for your business and your career over the next 5 years?
Well, the next 5 years, I actually have some changes on the horizon. I'm getting ready to, I just took another leap of faith again, not so much fearing failure, but I bought a property in what I think is a high-growth area in our market, and I'm getting ready to build my own office, which is exciting, a little bit nerve-wracking, and then within that, I'm going to take on some new team members I'm going to work alongside and train up so we can offer more clients exceptional buying and selling experience that we strive for. On a personal real estate goal, my goal is to buy more properties to add to my portfolio. But when I was 20, my goal was to buy one property a decade. I bought my first at 19, so the second in my 20s. Well, I'm 33 now, and I'm about to close on my 8th property, so there's nothing more satisfying than setting a goal and then blowing that goal out of the water. Good problem to have is I have to reset my goals often because I tend to meet them way sooner than I expect. So good problem to have.
Yeah, it's certainly not a bad thing if you get to the finish line a lot faster than you expected to get there.
Yes.
And I guess kind of on top of that, though, what do you feel is the best way you market yourself as a real estate professional so you can have continual growth?
I'm not big on marketing or advertising or print ad, but I am huge on the relationships. And I think that's why my business stands out a little bit above some in my market. But I truly care about people. I love to invest my time into bettering others. And this happens to work flawlessly with the real estate because it's, mostly the largest investment that individuals and families make. So I spend my time marketing myself by pouring into people and helping my clients make good decisions. So I always joke that I'm the worst salesperson. I'm not a salesperson. I'm into helping people make good real estate decisions. So my focus and passion goes into helping my clients, make good choices. And I always tell them, I want you to, 3 years down the road, be going to sleep at night in your home and think, wow, Christy helped us make a good decision when we purchased this home. But after the buyers and the sellers close on their home, I don't go anywhere. I love to keep in touch with all my past clients. And to me, it's crucial that even in a small way, I stay involved in their lives. But it's definitely easy to do when you love the people you work with, and that's a gift that I have. The long or the short answer is I would rather spend my time, investing in my clients than working on a marketing campaign.
And Christy, I think sometimes when the general public looks at real estate agents, they don't fully understand the value that you provide from both a buyer and a seller standpoint. Mm-hmm. What do you think the biggest misconception or myth people have about working with a real estate agent?
Well, I definitely think it's true. They don't, as far as not understanding the value, they don't know all that goes into a real estate transaction. People that have experienced FSBOs in the past for sale by owners, they're the ones I think that greatly appreciate the things that I do because they've done it themselves. But another thing that I think is the biggest misconception or something that is an obstacle is I feel that real estate agents have been given a bad name over the years. When I get a client, well, thank goodness my business is mostly personal referral, but when I do get a client that I don't know, there's often mistrust out of the gate. And so during that transaction, it's my mission to spend the entire transaction proving otherwise, proving that there isn't mistrust and integrity and character are something I strive for. So there are plenty of agents who are, want just to get a sale, especially if they're hungry agents, but I'm blessed to have an abundant business, and I'd rather take my time showing my character and integrity than hurry up and sell them or find them one home. So this happens to work flawlessly with my business model, which is based on catering and fostering true relationships with my clients. And a phrase I use often in my business is, a client's a blessing, but a client turned my friend is a true treasure.
And Christy, let's say you get a call from a family member or a friend, and they're in another state, and they want to, sell their home. Obviously, with your experience and probably with your connections, you could reach out and do a referral for them. But from a general advice standpoint, what advice would you give them about selecting an agent that could best serve their needs?
I know that this isn't the be-all, end-all, but I like to see agents that are producing numbers and volume. And the reason why is they are doing something right. It tells me if they sell 70-plus homes a year versus an agent that sells 5 homes a year, it tells me that they've got their act together, they've got systems in place to be able to facilitate and successfully close that many homes. So that would be my first go-to. I don't care what brokerage they represent. I don't care if they're on their own, if they're, with a big brokerage. And I also, a blessing for my friends, family, and clients, because I do referrals quite often. I'm part of a referral network that is top producing agents. So they're my go-to. Like I said, it's not the end-all. You don't have to sell 70 homes a year to be a great agent, but I just really find a mirrored image of me in those agents that have a passion that sell a lot of homes.
And Christy, obviously based out of Abilene, Texas area, and if somebody's looking for real estate services or an agent in that general area, what's the best way they can find out more information about you and how you can help them?
Well, I have a huge online presence, so if you're searching real estate in Abilene, Texas, there's a very good chance that my marketing team will in some way connect. So just to Google me, but I always tell people, do not take my word about me. Do your own research. I have a reference page for my past clients, and I give that to people. It's always better when someone else brags about the services that I offer than me telling people how great I am. So online reviews of my service are huge in my business, and I'm happy to say that I've never received less than a 5-star from any client who has bought or sold through me. And then that causes me to have walking billboards all over our community, which is huge for my business. But my website is just like my name is spelled, KristiAndrew.com, and then on the front page of my website, I have a bio video and several other marketing advice videos on my main page. And if you watch those, you'll definitely get a gist of who I am and what I'm about. So I'm not about selling homes. I'm definitely an advocate for the Abilene and Taylor County community. So I always tell my clients, if you need the name of a dry cleaner or the best financial planner or barbecue joint, anything, related to living in our community, I'm always here to help. I'm honored when people call me. I had a client call me last week for a job reference, and absolutely, she's new to the area. I loved working with them, and so she definitely got my stamp of approval, and I was able to give her a recommendation. But to me, a house is more than a house. It's a home, and it's a home in a community that I personally cherish, and that fuels some passion, too, behind being successful and working in our community. But I want all of my clients to love being a part of this community as much as I do, so I'll facilitate that in any way I can.
Excellent. And Christy, obviously we want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come here and share your professional real estate experience with all of our listeners.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
And if you're listening and you want to learn more about Christy, obviously you can go to her site, like she said. Also below this interview, we'll have a link to her site and any other contact information we have so you can see how Christy can help you with your real estate needs. So with that said, everybody, until our next show, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.